And it is the Saturday Coffee Klatch with Heather Lofthouse. Hello, Heather. Thank you for being with us. And yours truly, Robert Reich. And two special guests today from Inequality Media Civic Action, Vishal Shankar.
Nice to be
Vish,
here.
good to
Welcome,
have you.
Vish.
Vish is from Madison, Wisconsin. And we have also Katie Milne. Katie, great to have you here.
Thank you, Bob.
And Katie is from Austin, Texas. We thought we'd kind of fill up the ranks in this holiday season of the country, right? The middle part of the country. So you guys are representing everybody else.
We're representing real America.
Real
It's true. It's a lot of pressure.
Not
It's
the
a lot of
coastal,
pressure.
not the coastal elites.
coastal, yeah.
So, Heather, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, first of all, so excited to have these terrific colleagues on and get your brains on things. So what a difference a year makes. Let's talk about what has changed in the past year. Let's talk about the Republican crack-up, what's happening. And Trump is losing his control over the Republican Party and reality. We know that. And then let's talk about the economy and what people are able to afford this holiday season. And also how we're all feeling. We like
How are
to
you
do
feeling?
that.
How are
I
you
like
doing?
to do that. I'm okay because as I'm thinking about a year ago, Trump had just been elected. We were having these thoughts, is this going to be forever? Is this what America is like? Look at the Latino vote. Have we lost, the Dems have lost it. All these things. And now I see cracks. We see cracks. And it's
the crack
good.
up.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the
the Republican.
crack up.
It is a bigger crack up than I expected, honestly. I mean, the Republicans in Congress had been so loyal to Trump and were so afraid of his abilities to primary them and to intimidate them and every other way. And they're now in revolt.
Yeah,
It's
and there
very
are
clear.
few examples from this week.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to start with?
Well, this was a big week in terms of the history of the Republican Party. Vish?
Yeah, I mean, we can go to my favorite topic of all time, which is elections.
This
I'm
is
an
our election
nut.
correspondent over here.
Another banner week for the Democrats. They flipped.
Did you say Bannon Week?
Oh, God.
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
Banner week for the Democrats. They flipped the mayorship of Miami. Miami has not had a Democratic mayor in close to 30 years. I believe longer than I've been alive.
We
here
don't have
we
to get
go.
into the age
Here we
issue
go.
already.
Sorry.
Starting
I mean, you guys
fast.
are what, Generation Z?
I'm by
Z?
technicality Gen Z.
I'm still a millennial.
Well-
I made it in at the very last cutoff.
But
so.
the point is
not
that
me.
it's 50 years difference
Yes.
between you and me and you and me.
Yes.
And only
30 between us, which means 10 between,
Good
20.
math.
20.
20.
I really
it
wanna
is
pretend
20.
it's
Oh,
like
wait a minute.
3.
Back to Miami. We have a Democrat elected mayor in Miami. I mean, this is staggering, given Miami's history, given the Cuban Republicans.
Yeah, this is DeSantis land. I mean, this should be sending up a 5-alarm fire for the Republicans, not just Miami. We had in Georgia, right, new swing state, Georgia, state house seat that Trump won last year by 13 percentage points went to the Democrats.
Wow.
Well, there does seem to be kind of a 13% gap, right? I mean, the Democrats are moving toward the Republicans. Voters are moving toward the Democrats. A lot of these places where Trump had been, way ahead in 2024, the Democrats are closing that gap.
Yeah.
And 13% seems to be kind of the median, right, in terms of what Democrats are doing. What does this mean about 2026?
I mean, this is capping off a horrible year for the Republicans at the ballot box. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin. I remember very well in
Wait,
April.
where are you from?
The greatest state in the country.
Cheese.
Yes, exactly. In April, I mean, we had that big Supreme Court race. That was really the first time you saw this backlash to Trump manifesting at the ballot box. Remember Elon Musk spending ungodly sums of money to try and win this race.
That feels like forever ago.
We have another one coming up next year, by the way. Stay tuned. Election season never ends in Wisconsin.
That's all they do. It's cows and elections.
Yep, we just love voting. It's a national pastime.
But this is a big deal, because if the 2026 elections follow the pattern that we are seeing, and it's not just the elections this week. Obviously, been
whole
the pattern
year, yeah.
the entire year. That 13-point margin is going to deliver both the House and the Senate. Now, this is a big if, but it could very easily deliver both houses of Congress to the Democratic Party.
It puts a lot of key swing seats in play, maybe even seats previously thought to be safe red or leaning red. I mean, there are probably a lot of Republicans panicking right now that, even states like Texas gerrymandered. Could this be a dummy mander? Could a blue wave come in and wash all these people out?
Well, this is interesting because it's the Republican panic and even the panic of Republicans in Congress that may explain what has been happening in Congress, right?
Right. And also, can we talk about Indiana 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Indiana 2 days ago. Vish, take it away.
So I think a lot of people thought that Indiana, the state Senate, was going to rubber stamp what the state House did, pass these new gerrymandered maps. Very surprising development. They did not. The state Senate rejected it. This is after enormous pressure from Trump, the national Republicans, even the Republican governor of Indiana. And I mean, I think it goes back to how you conceive of politics a lot of times, Bob, is it's about bullying. A lot of these state Republican senators looked at this pressure and said, I'm tired of being pushed around by the bully in chief.
But that begs the question, why haven't they been rebelling against the bullying up till now?
Yes.
I mean, we've had 10 and a half months of bullying.
I think I have an answer, which is that for a lot of these Republican senators, they are fine with the Republican agenda, they're fine with Trump, until it affects them personally.
What does that mean, though? Their constituents?
So there was one state senator from Indiana where she was talking about she has a grandson, and her grandson and his friends were getting text messages talking about their grandmother and saying that, she'd better vote for the new maps. There was another state senator who did not like the way that Trump was talking about Tim Walz when he went on his infamous rant because he has a daughter with Down syndrome. For them, it really doesn't become real until it hits home for them personally.
So it hit home. We're talking, again, this is Indiana. These are state senators.
Republicans.
And Republicans. But we also saw a revolt in Congress among Republicans this past week. I mean, are they revolting against the same bullying? And if so, is it hitting home for them personally as
And
well?
how much is Epstein?
Well,
Epstein too, yes.
This is the key. I think for them, they're looking at a lot of the polling and the special elections, and they are saying Trump is unpopular across the board. His economy is flailing. He's losing GOP base support on the Epstein stuff. So, if I'm in a swing district, if I'm someone like Mike Lawler, I'm saying I need to break away from this guy. I need to save my own ass in 2026.
Saving your own ass in
Yeah.
2026.
There it is.
That's the personal.
Yeah.
That's the
campaign.
personal
Yeah.
connection.
Also, Marjorie Taylor Greene, interestingly, I mean, she broke. I would not have predicted that. And do you think she is allowing other people to break
I
away?
think so, because obviously you have these big names like Thomas Massey collaborating with Ro Khanna for this Epstein discharge petition. And then Mike Johnson has totally lost control of the House. And it's almost like the body is governing by discharge petitions, not passing bills. I mean, just yesterday, the Republican-controlled House passed one about restoring union rights to 1 million federal workers, very bipartisan. There's
It's
another
on
one.
Thursday, right?
Yeah, just earlier this week. There's another one about banning congressional stock trading floating around. I mean, there's so many. So I think exactly what you're saying, Vish. They see the writing on the wall with, the New Jersey governorship, with the other Virginia one,
yeah.
obviously.
Virginia
duh.
governorship
yeah.
and Florida and and all of the cities. But here's the thing: they are abandoning ship because they feel like Trump is not going to deliver for them in 2026. What is Trump's response?
I think he's just doubling down on lying and being insane. I mean, he was just in Pennsylvania earlier this week talking about how affordability is a hoax. It's a con job, which is how all of the Democrats won, by talking about the cost of living crisis, affordability, electric bills, where his policies are making all of these things worse. And so he's just doubling down and saying, I get my gold ballroom, but you don't need dolls. You don't need pencils. So I think he's just going to dig in even more.
So I wanted to ask you, Heather, about this affordability business.
Right.
Because, if this is the core reason that Trump is losing ground and the Republicans are bailing out at the state level and at the federal level, is this real? Trump says it's not real. Trump says, no, there is no affordability.
Well, there isn't for
crisis.
him, so it's not real for him. But I think now we are seeing where, the dolls comment is so cynical and disrespectful. And I think so much is happening this week in terms of the ACA and the fact that premiums are going through the roof. People are not renewing.
But people already know that their premiums are going through the roof, right? This is December.
Yes.
The premiums don't start until January.
Yeah.
But they're already signing up, and they already see
We're getting sticker
or
shock.
not signing
Yeah.
up.
or not signing up.
Right.
Yeah.
And this week, the Democrats did try in the Senate to get those subsidies back.
Right.
They couldn't get enough votes. But I was struck by how many Republicans joined the Democratic senators
Yes.
in getting that. And I mean, they couldn't get to the 60. They needed 60 to overcome the filibuster. But it was very interesting that the Republicans, a number of Republicans really did join the Democrats.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get anything through the House either.
Right, right. Can I ask you though? So here we are. I feel like we can all get so myopic, and I've been so anxious, as has everyone or a lot of people over the past year. But you've been more experienced, and I mean that with all respect, in terms of watching power shifts. Right?
Yes, I've watched it since really McKinley.
And right, exactly.
I mean, it's that shift. I mean, I was amazed.
But I think we are not out of the water, and things are
Right.
still terrible. But it's so watching this. Is it a blue wave that's coming? Do you have examples in the past where you've seen the electorate shift look to be going one way? And it
every
went somewhere else?
every midterm election is a referendum on the
Right.
past election and on the president who won in the past election. But this one is even a bigger referendum because you have Republicans in control of the House and the Senate and the White House and arguably the Supreme Court. So if things are not going well for average people, and the major issue for most people all the time in every election is how much are things costing and how are my wages doing in terms of what the price of living is and the cost of living is, then the party who has power is going to be blamed if people feel like they are in trouble. And that's exactly what's happening now. I mean, I think that's the big story. A lot of people don't like Trump's personality, but that's not it. A lot of people are upset about his foreign policy. A lot of isolationists don't like the fact that what he's doing in Venezuela. But that's not it. The real issue is prices and wages.
But so much has needed to be done around inequality. We haven't reckoned with everything yet. And this is an example where we get to, right? I mean, speaking of immigration, and when is the last big immigration policy that was passed? Is it Reagan?
Well, we had the biggest one was 1965.
Right. But so
You
this
remember
is,
that. Yes.
the reason I stay hopeful and I love these coffee clutches is because it's a reminder that we can get out of this.
They're bigger trends,
and what
longer
you,
trends.
Longer
Yeah.
trends, and that he wants us to feel powerless, and he wants us to feel like there's no way out. And it was a mandate. It was not a mandate.
Yeah.
We've been saying this for a year, and we're seeing it.
But this is also the emperor's new clothes phenomenon. I
No
mean,
clothes. His new clothes?
No, the emperor's,
He can't
emperor has no
afford new
clothes.
clothes. I know.
Emperor has no clothes phenomenon because you've got a president who really created and desperately created the impression, and he certainly felt it in his head, that he was indomitable, that there was nothing that could conquer him, that he was the king. And I think it's all this week especially, you see the little children around America saying the emperor has no clothes. I mean, the Trump really doesn't have anything. He's just a blowhard.
Bloviating.
He's a bloviating blowhard.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, and particularly when you get to prices and wages, the stuff that the kitchen table economics that people really are worried about, you can't get away from it. If Trump says people are terrific, people are well off, but prices are prices are going down. People know that that's a lie.
On
They
average,
know it's a lie.
Yeah, and on average, these items that everyone want to buy for Christmas, so Century Foundation, EPI, and Groundwork Collaborative, also Data for Progress. They're doing all these studies and all this polling and all this reporting. Prices are up by 26% on the most of the average stuff we want to buy for the holidays.
Since Trump was elected.
And
now
his
remember,
tariffs.
he was elected on getting prices down. His biggest criticism of the Biden administration that stuck, including a lot of people who were independents and a lot of people who were Democrats who changed their voting patterns, was pricing. Prices and wages. I think another big piece of this is that if prices went up, but wages went up faster than prices went up, people wouldn't be as concerned. But the fact is that wages have gone almost nowhere for most people.
And healthcare is going through the roof.
Healthcare.
And everyone can afford stuff. We're being told to buy fewer things. I mean, and so interestingly, so this past Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so a year ago, the wealthier families were spending less and the poorer families were spending more. And now that has switched. So I think people are feeling the squeeze, and they are saying, 4 out of 5 people are saying, nearly 4 out of 5, this is Trump's fault. This is Trump's fault. And so people are going to pull from their savings, which is horrific. They're going to buy fewer things. They're going to have fewer people over for the holidays. They're going to buy fewer people gifts. I mean, they're just having to adjust in all these ways.
And this shift where the economy is starting to depend on the wealthy spending, it's actually really dangerous and fragile because 70% of the economy relies on consumer spending. And wealthy people, they have all this wealth and money, but they still only buy the same amount of groceries, the same amount of mattresses, the same amount of this. So it actually makes our economy really weak and fragile and susceptible to totally collapsing.
Katie, this is a very important point because in years past, I mean, the old standard was that the richest 10% were responsible for about a third of total spending. Now the richest 10% are responsible for half of total spending, which makes the economy very fragile because that richest 10%, the reason they feel confident enough to spend, even though the economy is not all that great, is because the stock market has done well. But you guys know as well as I do, the stock market is doing well because of what? AI fumes. I mean, that's basically it.
Yep.
So,
also, you can only buy so many jets, Gulfstreams, right?
One would hope. One would hope.
I mean, I have 3. I'm hoping for a 4th. Could you guys pitch in?
No.
I'll do my best.
Fewer pencils, fewer jets, fewer dolls.
Maybe.
But it's interesting you say that because the super rich are doing better than ever. And it's funny that maybe a reason that Trump thinks everybody's doing better is because he's making life better for his super rich friends. I mean, a key example of that is everybody's talking about this proposed Netflix deal with Warner Brothers, $72 billion, and then also Paramount Skydance proposing their hostile bid that Trump, who Paramount's run by his bestie, Larry Ellison, and now he's saying, I'm going to be personally involved in this. CNN needs to be totally overhauled, which, Bob, have you ever seen this level of blatant interference in independent regulatory agencies?
No, which is why it's very interesting that this week the Supreme Court had arguments about whether independent regulatory agencies should basically stay independent. I think it's all coming together. And it's coming together in a way that is revealing to the public that it's about power. And it's about the power of the people at the top. Donald Trump wants to control not just all of government. He wants to control all of the economy because he wants to be able to basically penalize those companies and those media corporations that are criticizing him, like CNN. That's really a key factor in the contest over
Can
Warner
you
Brothers.
imagine? I mean, he's so narcissistic and selfish. Also, he wants to control the world. Also, he wants to control women. I mean, the list is long.
He wants to control everything. We are dealing with a cockeyed, malicious narcissist. But when you're dealing with malignant narcissism, there is no end. There is no end. So but what encourages me, quite honestly, is that Trump is not going to change. I mean, he's shameless. But what is changing is all the forces around Trump. Now, the Supreme Court, unfortunately, I can't count on. The federal courts under the Supreme Court are doing a terrific job. And Congress, particularly the Republicans in Congress, are just beginning to stand up to him.
But on these mergers, the whole way we've defined the rule of law and governance is that this one man is not supposed to be able to say, I'm going to help make that decision. I'm in on that decision. I mean, there has to be a nonpartisan interpretation.
Exactly.
And you've been
Bingo.
at the FTC.
Bingo.
Where have you not been?
I've been everywhere.
You've been
but,
at the
but
FTC.
for 5 years, I was, head of policy at the Federal Trade Commission. This was in the last century. But, the point is that unless you have independent regulatory agencies, there is no check. Unless you have a Supreme Court that is willing to check the president's power. But this Supreme Court has given him basically a pass. What he wants is total power. What the Republicans are beginning to do, just beginning. Let's not assume that they're going to really be in revolt against him, but they're beginning to say, no, we have got to establish our own power base because we can't count on him in the midterms. This is the key. This is the key to everything that's going on right now. Now, we also have Larry Ellison. And
a centibillionaire. Let's remind everyone that's $100 billion to become a centibillionaire, but he has over $200
Second
billion.
richest man in the entire world.
Well, I know the richest man. Do you know?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Elon Musk.
Yes.
Your bestie.
Oh, but you know him?
Well, I don't know him personally,
No.
but
One would hope not.
Coffee Klatch next week.
we correspond. But I think the point is that the billionaire class is the other factor in all of this. And the billionaire class got behind Trump, obviously, because he promised to reduce their taxes, and big corporations got behind Trump, along with the billionaire class, because he promised to reduce corporate taxes. But right now, I think the billionaire class is nervous.
So can I just remind everyone that the Washington Post this past week, this White House has a net worth of $390 billion, wealthiest in modern history. Now, that's 12 billionaires, not including Trump, have held roles in the Trump administration.
That's crazy.
12
Billionaires.
Now, remember, billion, what did you say?
Centibillion is 100 billion.
Yeah.
A trillion is 1,000 billion.
Well, we're not talking about trillionaires.
Yet,
Yeah.
momentarily, Musk is on the way.
But, all of this seems to be catching up with Trump. Are we being too optimistic, or is Trump going to pull some big deflection strategy, some big diversion?
I think yes and yes. I mean, no and no. I mean, no and yes. We're not being too optimistic, and yes, he's going to pull a big
Heather,
deflection
how
thing.
big a deal is Epstein in all of this? We haven't mentioned it.
I'm glad you're asking me. I think it's a huge deal. I think it's a huge deal. It's actually even bigger than I thought it would be. I mean, I knew that people said we've talked about this, right? There are QAnon theories. There's pedophilia is a horrific, if not the most horrific violation of humanity, right? And I think it's been played up. And so now the man who said, I'm releasing the Epstein files and went in with, Dems are pedophiles and blah, blah, blah. And now he's being called out, and he had to flip-flop. He had to say, well, you don't need the file. Okay, fine, we'll let out the files, even though they're all going to be redacted. This is hurting him, and it's great.
How is it hurting him? I mean, the files have not been released yet, but something is being released.
Undercurrent.
I mean, there is this undercurrent, and congressional committees, oversight committees, are releasing pieces.
Yep.
And this piecemeal approach to releasing the Epstein files
it's great.
It's
I think
if
because
you were
it's
Trump,
like,
you wouldn't
what
think it
else
was
is
great.
there?
Yeah, the drip, drip, drip.
Yes.
It keeps the story in the news.
It's scarcity. You're like, there's 95,000 photos, and we were just shown 40 new ones this week.
Yeah.
And so what else is there? And does the emperor have no clothes? Like, what is he hiding? And then
The
Marjorie
emperor was
Taylor
naked. I mean,
for sure.
Ugh.
But I think this is a big problem. And it'll be interesting to see if Ghislaine Maxwell is pardoned. I think there are more pieces of it that are going to come up, obviously, in the coming months. And I do think that a lot of Republicans, so I think it's Did you mention the just discharge petition about federal workers too?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think constituents are mad about a lot of things right now. I think they're mad about federal employees being shafted. I think they're mad about the economy. And I think Epstein is on the list for a lot of people. It feels disingenuous from the most disingenuous person. But if you thought he was genuine on a lot of stuff, and including this, and then he moves on this particular one.
So let's talk about just Michael Johnson for a second. Why is he still there as Speaker of the House? I mean, if he's facing a revolt by all these members of Congress,
do you know how many people want that job? Can you? I mean, it's been bad in the past. But imagine.
But we are hearing from more and more Republicans in the House that he's not listening to them, that he's not consulting with them, that he's basically rubber stamping everything Trump wants. And what we've concluded is that a lot of Republicans are worried about the midterms. They don't want to be dependent on Trump. So why is Michael Johnson still Speaker?
Because Trump wants him there.
Yeah. Fish,
Done.
do you have any thoughts?
Perhaps we're being a bit too confident that Mike Johnson will still be Speaker.
Oh.
So do you have any predictions?
Yeah, what's our timeline?
Well, I mean, the key thing is just how razor thin this House majority is. It's like 5 seats. I mean, again, they've got to be panicking. I wanted to quickly say on the mergers and all of these crack-ups that we're seeing in the Republican Party, as we head into the midterm year, this is an opportunity for Democrats to show not only what they are against, but what they stand for. Are we going to have more of the same corporate Democrats who brought us into this mess, or are we going to have people who boldly stand against APAC, crypto, the AI industry, who fight for Medicare for all and progressive priorities?
Well, this is interesting because it seems to me that not only is the Republican Party cracking up, but also the Democratic Party has a civil war going on, which is an old one. I've been part of this civil war for many years. You do have the corporate and Wall Street Democrats. And then you do have let's call them the Zoran Mamdani Democrats for the sake of bringing it up to date. What are we seeing? What is going on in the Democratic Party? And if the Democrats are going to really, that is the non-corporate Democrats, the progressive Democrats, are going to prevail, what would they be doing now? What would they be saying now?
I think a huge one is taking on corporate power. I mean, something that kind of gets lost in the affordability discussion is you can't just bring people up from the bottom up and increase their power from the bottom up. You need to decrease power from the top down, and that starts with curbing corporate power. Because when these giant mergers go through, workers lose power, they lose bargaining power at the table because they can't just leave and go find another job because their whole industry is owned by 1 or 2 companies. Consumers lose power. I mean, if this Netflix deal or the Paramount deal goes through, you can bet that all of our streaming services are going to get shot up. We're going to lose a lot of amazing shows that we love. We're going to have no control over what we want to watch. So I think something that is key is taking on corporate power, and Lena Khan was so fantastic at doing this.
At the Federal Trade Commission.
Exactly,
taking on corporate power, what you're saying, I think, is that what the Democrats should be pushing is antitrust, anti-monopoly, really busting up these big corporations.
Right. Absolutely. At the same time as other things, right? Pro-worker policies.
Pro-labor union policy.
Yeah.
This is something, I remember in the Clinton administration. I was Secretary of Labor. Very hard to get.
You were? Oh, my God. I had no idea.
Well, it goes back. This was early 19th century. But, labor, organized labor, is something that the Democrats used to be very much behind, but they don't talk about it anymore. I mean, the Democrats, the corporate and the financial Wall Street Democrats don't want to talk about labor unions. And
I know, and all our consumer financial protections are...
Right.
Look, I'm sure Larry Summers will chime in on it any time.
Oh, God.
Thank you very much
for
that.
What's he up to these days?
Yeah, thanks for that.
But let's stick to this. And I think it's a very important issue right now. Katie, you're saying what the Democrats ought to do is not just be opposed to Trump. They've got to have an affirmative, let's call it an affordability pledge, an affordability message, an affordability platform.
Yep.
And one key plank is labor unions. Another key plank is anti-monopoly, antitrust. What else?
How about a minimum wage going up? Anybody?
Well,
The
last
federal
time the
minimum
minimum wage increased was 2009. The minimum wage is still $7.25. $7.25 an hour.
Yeah.
How can anybody live on $7.25 an hour?
You can't.
Studies
You
show
can't.
you can't.
Obviously, you can't. So yes, raising the minimum wage to what? What should the Democrats be advocating?
I think at this point, with inflation, especially how it's increased in so much, I think at least 20, maybe even 25, especially in certain cities where the cost of living is soaring.
Yep.
I mean, but obviously higher than $7.25.
And also,
I mean,
it
that's
should
not
be
even a latte.
Right,
in Berkeley.
exactly. But it needs to be phased up, right?
Yeah.
And it needs to be carefully designed policy
Absolutely.
where it's more in certain places and it's phased up higher in certain places. I mean, it's not one size fits all.
Right.
So $25 or more increasing over time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have three planks of the
We have three
Democratic
planks.
platform. But what do we do about Trump's tariffs?
Get rid of them.
Get rid of all the tariffs?
Well, tariffs can be used to increase American manufacturing and bring jobs back on shore, but not when they're enacted so chaotically and through like a personal vendetta. You know, just on a whim. Oh, slapping tariffs on China, but oh, Apple, you're exempted because you brought me a gold statue. You know.
Well, manufacturing employment, let's be clear, has not increased under Trump. In
Yeah.
fact, it's decreased under Trump. For all this discussion about tariffs, the reason he wants to do it is to bring back manufacturing to America. What he has to show at the end of, 10 and a half, almost 11 months is zilch.
Bupkis,
Yeah.
as you would
Bupkis.
like, as you like to say. One thing, though, and I'm sorry I keep bringing it back to this, but I think what we're seeing with all the elections that Vish was talking about is that I know we are hyper-partisan in a way we never have been. And we can look at,
You can talk about yourself being hyper-partisan.
Right. I'm so hyper and also partisan. And that's with decaf. But I think what matters is we are seeing that it's actually thinner than Trump wants to make it. It's actually there is a common fairness that we are returning to in the voting booths, right? A sense people want better wages. And so that is what I'm hopeful for the midterms and beyond, is that we can't give in to so much that he's trying to make reality and trying to say is inevitable and is trying.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I think people are like, this is not fair. And fairness matters.
I think you're right. I think there is a basic, deep American
wanna use this?
value with
found these.
with yes.
Do you know what we have these from? Sorry to interrupt. These
What?
are from when we did the live watch-alongs of the debates,
of the
presidential debates.
which
this
debates?
one. This one.
PTSD.
I think Kamala Harris did a fabulous job in her debate.
was- She did.
You're
She
talking
did,
about
yes.
the Biden
Yeah.
Trump debate.
Yeah. Sorry.
Look, I think this is critical, and fairness is bedrock. But I think that behind the notion of fairness is also help. I mean, I can't afford a house.
Right.
I mean, you guys, your generation.
Oh, we're
I mean,
screwed. We're
well,
screwed.
do you want to be more specific about it? I mean,
Yeah.
I talk to people who are in their 20s, and you guys, how are you ever going to afford a house? How are you ever going to afford really a family? I mean, seriously, I think that this is the kind of issue that if the Democrats have got to talk about. We have never had so much wealth at the top. We have never had a middle class that is so squeezed. We've never had a working class that is actually declining, going down the tubes. If the Democrats say, this is what we're going to do about housing, this is what we're going to do about health care, this
Paid
is what we're
family
going to
leave.
be about, we have paid family leave. Look at the contests around the country where Democrats have won, and the Democrats are saying affordability, affordability,
Yeah.
affordability. Look at Mamdani. Here's what I'm going to do about housing. Here's what I'm going to do about transportation. Here's what I'm going to do about childcare. He's talking bread and butter issues. This is what the Democrats need to be doing coming up to the midterms.
But
Absolutely.
but I hate to keep thinking about this, but so this is the most egregious, disgusting, corrupt presidency I think we've ever had. So if Paramount goes through, Jared Kushner, who is his son-in-law, is one of the big investors at the table, right?
Right.
For this. And Trump is deciding to make his family wealthier. Not only is he with
And
his
you know
buddies,
where some of the money is coming from. Again,
Yep.
we're talking about the Ellisons, and we're talking about
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia and
UAE.
UAE.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is all the money that is going into the Trump family business.
But if that passes and happens, people, and we explain it, and I think people already are getting it, but that is the most egregious. You cannot have that done. That is some regal, tyrannical, corrupt ridiculousness.
Well, the question we're now talking about, we're debating, is whether the abstract notion of corruption and unfairness is more important to people than they can't afford to have a house. They can't afford to have childcare. They can't afford the basics that they need. I think the affordability or not be able to afford, I think that's the biggest issue.
But
I really do.
I don't think it's an either or. I think it's an and both. I mean, this corruption feeds into the affordability crisis because everybody is watching these billionaires get richer and richer. I mean, the 10 richest billionaires added $700 billion to their wealth since Trump has been back in the White House. And people see that. They see Elon Musk getting this massive pay package to become the world's first trillionaire.
Pay package.
So I think it's not a matter of, oh, should we focus on corruption? Should we focus on affordability? It's one and the same, because if the Paramount deal goes through or if the Netflix deal goes through, workers are going to lose their jobs. Unions are going to lose some of their bargaining power. Consumers are going to see their streaming prices go up. So it's the corruption is feeding the affordability crisis. So I think combination of those messages can be really powerful.
Tell us about the time you went across the country and asked people who they were going to vote for in 2016.
Oh, in 2016, I was in Missouri or Missouri, depending upon where you are in the state, and in the Carolinas. I was in Dakota. I was actually all over the Midwest and the Rust Belt. And people said to me, and I had these kind of informal, discussions with lots of people. And I was writing a book at the time, as I always am.
I know.
And people, I kind of asked people, well, who are you interested in? Now, this is actually at the end of 2015. This is before the election year. And people said, well, we're interested in two people. One is Bernie Sanders. And I said, great. And the same people who said Bernie Sanders also said Donald Trump. And I remember sitting there in these, free-floating focus groups. I'd say, why Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump? Why are you even putting them in the same sentence? And a lot of people said, because they'll shake things up. They're not typical politicians. They're authentic. They say what they mean.
So to me, that means it's both affordability, it's the economy, stupid, kitchen table, blah, 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 but also the fairness issue, big time. The larger picture.
It's both. And I think you and Katie, I'm coming around to your point of view. Thank you.
Cheers.
Because, yes, maybe you can't separate the two.
No, I think you have to separate the two, but I think it's both
they're different.
critically important. And
I
it's
think
not
they are different.
just the economy. Okay, what else? Have we covered all this stuff? This has been so fun.
But
is this our biggest coffee clutch?
Well, it is a big coffee clutch. But I think there's another big issue, and that is your movie.
Oh, thank you for that segue.
I mean,
that's top of the news.
Can I show? So the East Bay Express. God love
don't
them.
do that.
No, I'm doing it because it's selfish for me. They, Lou Fanter, who's a great journalist, did an article on you, but they pulled the poster from that's you teaching your class. It's so great. So this past week, I want to say thank you. I think we all do, for everyone who showed up. Where am I talking? There. Showed up to watch with us, which was real nerdy fun, our film, The Last Class. Elliot Kirshner directed it. I produced it. Inequality Media Civic Action funded it. And it was so fun. 37,000 of you at one point were watching with us. And we were in a little corner in Upper Square, and the movie was going. So many of you watched it on your phone. So many 90-year-olds watched it. We did a survey of how old were you?
90-year-olds?
90-year-olds. Including, yeah.
Oh, 90.
90-year-olds.
Yeah.
But so we had the full gamut. We had an 11 to 99 were the ages of people that watched it. And it was so heartening and inspiring to have people writing in. So thank you all for joining us. It's still in theaters. I think we should do another watch along. I think we should just watch along everything. It's a Wonderful Life. What else can we watch along?
Well, if you believe that we should do, or if you are in favor of doing another watch along of Heather's movie,
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's not my movie.
Well, and you and Elliot Kirshner.
Yeah, thelastclassfilm.com is where you go to sign up, and you
thelastclassfilm.com
is where you go. Give us your email address, and you'll get. We don't bombard you too much.
Well, Heather, I want to thank you for
Thank you.
all of your work.
What about that? We also, one other thing, we had this fabulous video come in from this group of people that watched the Wealth and Poverty course. They rented out their local library's classroom, and they watched it for 14 weeks.
Wait a minute. Did they watch the movie?
They watched the movie as well, but we got the video yesterday that said we just finished the class. We feel like we graduated. We should send them a certificate, I'm sure. And they said it's free online. We got a whole bunch of people together. We've had discussions after every class. So now we've not only seen the movie, but we've been able to take this class, and we can't believe it was free online. And so Wealth and Poverty, you Google it. It's on YouTube. It's on Substack. It's on inequalitymedia.org. The website. And so offering the course, I think, is so important because the movie focuses more on education, teaching, your feelings about retirement, and it's that angle. But then the course is available right now for everyone to take.
14 classes, 14 sessions, each of them an hour and a half, and it's completely free. This is free higher education.
It is. And the syllabus is on our website as well, inequalitymedia.org. So you can do the readings.
Listen, again, I want to thank Heather. Let's toast Heather for her leadership
Thank
in
you,
Equality Media and in Equality Media Civic
Yes,
Action.
absolutely.
Also, I want to thank Vish and Katie for joining us today.
Thank you for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you,
coming. It
guys.
was
Nice
nice
to be here. Yeah.
Will you come back?
And
Never.
Naomi, and behind the camera, Naomi Bradford, and also Michael Lahanis Calderon. And I want to thank all of you out there because I know how stressful everything continues to be. This was a very upbeat session today, an upbeat Klatch, because there's a lot to be upbeat about. The crack-up of the Republican Party and the Congressional Republican Party and all the election news, and very good news, and also the suggestions that Democrats are finding their mojo in terms of a progressive message that is a message about kitchen table economics, what people really need, which is basically the old Democratic message going back to the 1930s. This is all important. This is all good. And sometimes I think to myself, we had to go through this horrendous period in order to rediscover our principles, rediscover our roots, rediscover what's important, as Heather was talking about in terms of fairness, and Katie was talking about in terms of fairness and these basic issues of affordability and making a living and the unfairness of so much of our wealth and income being in the hands of so few people in this country. So, yes, there's still a lot to be stressed about. We are not at the end of this nightmare, and it's a daymare. Trump is still in power. The Republicans are still in power in Congress, both houses. The Republicans and Trump are still in power effectively in the Supreme Court. But I think what we all see is the green shoots of change, the green shoots of this country becoming aware of what it was and what we can do to get back on track. The green shoots of this nation rediscovering its principles, not making America great again, because we never were great, but those principles, those aspirations, those goals were and are great. And that is where we, as a nation, as a people, are beginning to move toward again. Thank you all. We will see you all next Saturday.
In a week.
in a week.
Thanks, Bob.
Take care.